That's a very good question. How has matchmaking evolved in our games? So I touched on this in my talk. Our heritage here at Space Ape is build and battle games. So like Clash of Clans, you'll build a base, train some troops, and then you'll go and fight some people, other real people in the world. And the first game we launched, Samurai Siege, we had a system where you'd go off, you'd train your troops, and then you'd look at different bases that you could attack, and you'd find one which was like a good fit for your troops, where you think you could beat it, and you'd attack it. And that worked pretty well. It meant that the players generally got matched to the correct base, but it's also quite clunky. You know, they've got to look for all these different bases. And for our next game, we thought, why don't we have a system where we'll choose the base and then you choose the troops? So the way it works is you go fight a battle, it brings this base up, and then you decide what troops you want to deploy and what kind of spells you want to use. And it changed the dynamic of the game a bit because it made it feel more like a puzzle game, because each base would be laid out slightly differently, and you'd think, oh well, he's put his walls here, so I could put this guy here, and if I use archers then, and so on. And it made it feel like a little puzzle. Like each base was a little puzzle you had to solve, which worked quite well. The flip side is it made the experience quite repetitive, because we were curating these bases. We were like, we want you to win like 2/3 of the time every time you have a battle. And generally that's right, but there'd be some guys that want to win really easily every time, and there's some guys who want to challenge every time, and they weren't getting that. So with the last game we did, which was the Transformers game, we tried to combine the two systems. So in this system, you choose what battle zone you want to fight in, so like easy, medium, hard, very hard. So the player's deciding how hard they want the battle to be, but then within the battle zone, we then use our matchmaking to serve up the right base. And that's worked really well for us. Like the players love it, they can always get the battle they want, and yeah, that's where we've ended up. How do we use data to balance player abilities? So I think the most obvious one here is Transformers. So we've got this report which we use, which looks at what Transformers the players own, because the players can unlock different Transformers. So they can get, you know, like a Megatron or a Soundwave, and each Transformer has different abilities, but they're also different rarities. So the really powerful ones like Megatron, they're quite rare. Not many people have got him. Lots of people have got Starscream, for example. He's more common. So we look at this report, and it's basically a chart like this, and we've got on one axis how many people own the bot, and on the other axis we've got how often they're using the bot and the bot abilities. And by combining this two pieces of information, when we're deciding what bots we should try and sell to the players, which is how we make all the money in the game, we want a bot which players like to deploy a lot, but not many people have got it. Because that means that it's a bot which people want because it's powerful, but no one's got it. So we know that will be like a big seller. And the other thing we use in that report is we look to see which bots are being deployed, and when they're deployed, if their abilities are used. And that helps us understand the balancing, because if there's bots which lots of people own, but they never deploy them, we know that there's something wrong with that bot, and we need to make it more powerful. And if there's a bot which everyone's using for every single battle, like maybe it's a bit too powerful. And we'll also look at the win rates as well, depending on your composition and what bots you use. We can see if some combinations are too powerful or too weak, and feed that back in, and we'll run through these reports with the designers on the game, and they'll then have patches where, similar to like a game like League of Legends, where they'll nerf some or buff other bots. Generally, we prefer to buff bots, because players get very upset when you nerf bots, especially if they've invested money into making the bot more powerful. So as a rule of thumb, we'll just try and make the other bots more powerful to bring the other bot down comparatively. Yeah. Data analysis was key, to be honest, in researching ping. So when we got to the stage where we thought we really want to make a real-time multiplayer game, we thought, well, can we get away with genuine real-time? Does it have to be pseudo-real-time or turn-based? What kind of a connection are most people playing on? So what we did is we took our most popular game at the time, which was Rival Kingdoms, and we added telemetry to the game to record what kind of connection the player had. So we'd see if they're playing on a Wi-Fi network, how good that Wi-Fi network is, if they're on it, if they're on 3G, 2G. And we were gathering data from players all around the world. And it builds up a really good picture for us as to what kind of coverage people had in terms of the round trip time and the ping and the latency that they could get. And that really informed the decision we ended up making, which was that we've got one game in development which is pseudo real time, which is Super Karts, which is a sort of Mario Kart type game, which is going to be coming out pretty soon. And we've got another top secret game which I can't talk about, but it's genuine real time, but it's far enough away in the future that we think by the time that launches, we're close to the point at the moment where there's enough people on good connections to be able to play it without any hassles. By the time it launches, it should be fine. Over time, what you'll see is that more and more people are on 4G and Wi-Fi. And at some point, I guess they're going to invent 5G or super duper Wi-Fi. So it's all heading in a direction where everything's going to be real-time multiplayer for everything. But yeah. So if someone's got a high ping, obviously that's going to cause problems. If they have delays talking to the server, then you're going to have problems where clients will disagree with each other and the game might crash, or one player will see one thing, another will see the other, and then the game will start juddering and strange things will start happening, and the players get upset at that point. So I mentioned this in my talk actually. We've got some clever little tricks we've done in the design of the games to try and compensate for this. So in the kart game, you have weapons you can deploy. So there's speed boosts and rockets you can fire and this kind of thing. And we've deliberately chosen boosts and weapons which are lag resistant. So the main weapon which people will deploy is a rocket. You'll pick a target with the rocket and there's a 2-second delay before it launches as you see the rocket arming and the animation and firing. And by adding that 2-second delay in the animation and the rocket being deployed, it actually gives the server time to compensate if the player is playing on a laggy connection. So it's similar to games like Clash Royale, where you'll deploy a troop onto the battlefield and there's a small delay before it actually pings onto the battlefield. And I'm sure they've done that for the same reason, because it makes the game more lag tolerant.